Hi guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We hope everyone is doing well, and yeah, we thought we'd do another stream for you guys today. And this one, we're going to be talking about your drafts. We sent out a tweet earlier on this week, asking for you guys to send us your drafts through, and we wanted to rate them out of 10. So we done a video, we done a part one, I think a couple of weeks ago, but we thought we'd do a follow-up video because it was quite popular. And we know you guys liked it, so we thought we'd do another part two because our teams have changed now from 2 weeks ago, and a lot of people have different teams and everything now, and a lot of different, I've seen more 4-4-2s now. So we thought because everyone's changing the team up, let's do another one and see what you guys say about that. So yeah, but before we get started, how are you, Jordan? How's your day been?
Yeah, my day's been okay, and I'm very well, thanks. And I'm very excited because there's only a week left until the Premier League kicks off, and I'm sure there's a lot of excited people as well.
Yep, there is a week now left. Obviously, Arsenal next Friday, so this time tomorrow, obviously Arsenal will probably be getting ready to watch the Arsenal game. So it flew by, and yeah, the season's about to kick off. 1 week to go, and we're very excited. But for now, we've still got, the drafts to rate for you guys. So if you just joined the stream, don't forget to smash the like button, and we will get into the first draft. So let's pull the first draft up that we got. So yeah, we asked you guys on Twitter. If you haven't already, follow us on Twitter, and that's our link for the Twitter. So the FPL Duo on Twitter. Follow us on there, guys, if you haven't already. So yeah, let's move on to the first draft that we got sent through. So here's a draft we received from Manish. He sent it over on Twitter. Yeah, let's discuss this draft. We're gonna rate your drafts out of 10. So whatever we think, we'll give a score out of 10. And then yeah, let's discuss. So we've got this draft sent in a 4-4-2, which is quite different to what we've seen. So just off the bat, as you can see with his team, he's gone with a 4-4-2, but he's not got Salah. He's decided to play Son ahead of Salah. So that's interesting. Not seen many teams with Son instead of Salah. So that's an interesting one. And then he's gone Bowen, which is another player that we've not seen much in the midfield. A bit of a differential. Trossard, Gameresh, Haaland, and Jesus, which looks quite popular up front. And then the back four is quite interesting because we've got Cancelo and you've got Trent. But then you've gone with Anderson and Aguard from West Ham. Just quickly, I'll just give my thoughts on this team. I'm not so sure about the defense because I like Trent, I like Cancelo, but Palace and West Ham, more so Palace. I think Palace's fixtures are quite tough, so I'm not keen on them as a team to start with, especially in defense when there's so much cheaper options that you could have. I don't know if it makes sense to have someone like Anderson. So that's my thoughts on that. I like Ramsdale pick, could be decent. But yeah, West Ham defender. I don't know if game week 1 they've got Man City. Do you really want to play? Maybe you got Botman on the bench, so I'm assuming you'd probably prefer to play him ahead of Aguard, who's got Man City. I mean, the defense I'm not a big fan of, if I'm being honest. I think you could get improvement in there. Maybe bring in another Liverpool defender because you've only got one Liverpool player in there, as I see at the moment. You've also got no Arsenal defenders as well who've got decent fixtures. I know you got Ramsdale actually, but yeah, it's an interesting team. It's very different, I'd say. What do you make of this team on the screen right now, Jordan?
Yeah, it was it's very different to a template team that we've seen previously. There is a lot of difference. There's only, I'll say, the same I've seen in many drafts is Haaland, Jesus, Trent, and Cancelo. The rest of the remaining players are not really seen in most drafts, especially with Anderson. I think his ownership is lower than 5%. You did get. He's pretty nailed centre back though. 34 appearances last season. Got 4 assists and 1 goal, which is not bad stats for him, and a cheap option too at 4.5 mil. But as Huss mentioned, Crystal Palace have one of the worst 5 starting fixtures, as they are up against Arsenal in game week 1, and then they have Liverpool in game week 2, and then Man City in game week 4. So it's not the best start for Crystal Palace, I would say, and to have a Crystal Palace player is very risky to
Yeah.
have. I would suggest looking at Crystal Palace players after they play Chelsea in game week 9 instead.
Yeah, I mean the fixtures, especially the first 5, I'm not a fan. You know, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man City. So yeah, that can definitely change. I'd recommend that moving Anderson out for someone else if you can. Maybe a Tomiyasu if he's fit, or also even a Lewis Dunk at Brighton. I'd prefer if that price. If you want to go cheap, but I want to know how much budget you have left also with this team, because I'm assuming you have quite a lot left, because you've gone quite cheap with the players. Trossard is
Yeah.
interesting as well. Let me just bring up Trossard's fixtures because I'm actually not sure. Can you bring the fixtures up for me actually for Trossard and who they've got? But talking about Bowen's an interesting one. I think Bowen, he's not in many teams this year, is he? And we know he was brilliant last year. I've not seen many drafts with Bowen in at all. What's your thoughts on Bowen then as an option, as a starting option?
I'm not too keen on having Bowen as a starting option, as West Ham do have Man City in their first game week. And Bowen's annoying because of his price too. He's not in the 8 mil bracket as other class midfielders are, just because of the season he had previously was so good that his price ended up being 8.5. So it's a bit of a stick in the mud with that. But
Yeah.
along the line, I want to see what Bowen can do maybe later on in the season. I think now it's more better to go for an 8 mil midfielder who has a better starting fixture in game week 1. I know West Ham don't have not too bad fixtures.
The fixtures get pretty good after game week 1. So obviously they start off with Man City, then they've got Forest, then Brighton and Villa, and then they've got Tottenham and Chelsea back to back. So yeah, in the first 6 games they play 3 of the top 4 of last season. So I would stay away from West Ham defense, especially. I've seen you also got Aguard in this team, so I'll probably avoid West Ham defense and Palace defense. Bowen is an interesting one. He could pay off in those 3 games he's got against Forest, Brighton, and Villa. But I do prefer other 8 million options for the extra 0.5. Let's quickly talk about Trossard as well. Let me just add him in. I want to see what fixtures he's got. So Trossard has Man United for the first game of the season. Then he has Newcastle, West Ham, Leeds, Fulham, Leicester, Bournemouth, Palace. So the fixtures aren't actually too bad. And Trossard's at 6.5 million. Do you like him as an option, or do you think there's just other players in that price range, like a Neto, obviously who's cheaper? There's Rashford at same price, 6.5. Would you like Trossard?
No, I haven't really looked at Trossard as an option for 6.5 because, as you mentioned, there's Rashford, Neto. There's other players that have similar decent fixtures that Brighton do, but I wouldn't pick a Brighton player to start off the game week with. I'd rather pick like a Wolves or maybe Man United. I wouldn't really go towards Brighton. I know they started off well last season with their incredible defense record, but they they don't really score many goals as well. Brighton, they're more of like a defensive team rather than an attacking team. But yeah, I do think Trossard can be replaced with someone else with more attacking ability in terms of teams.
Yeah, obviously Brighton are one of those teams. They do get chances, but it feels like they do miss a lot as well. But Trossard's a decent option. I just don't know if I'd start with him. But yeah, I think Anderson and Aguard in defense could definitely come out for maybe a Tomiyasu or anyone else in defense that you recommend that you like the look of.
Yeah. Well, I would suggest downgrading Aguerd, because of his recent injury, he picked up in the last game, in the game last week where he was limping off in the 3-1 defeat against Rangers.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so I'll say to a 4.5 midfielder because Aguerd is 5 mil. So I would probably pick a defender like Johnny with better fixtures compared to Crystal Palace, and upgrading Anderson to probably Zinchenko from Arsenal, who's 5 mil. And I think that will work well with Jesus up front, as they have that chemistry for Man City too. And also, just to mention the goalkeepers, you have Ramsdale and Raya. Ramsdale's 5 mil and Raya is 4.5. To save you budget, I would choose only one playing goalkeeper and have a 4 million non-playing goalkeeper. So that way you save money that you can spread either in the defense or midfield to upgrade players with.
Yeah, I agree with quite a lot of what you said there. I wouldn't have two playing goalkeepers either. So yeah, that's one thing you could change. I like the attack. I think Haaland and Jesus is very popular. I think a lot of our teams will have both of those to start with. Even Harry Kane, I might go with Harry Kane, just putting out there. But yeah, we like Haaland. He's gone with Haaland captain as well. I see. I don't know if that's if that's what you're gonna go with, but Haaland captain over Son, I'm not so sure. But yeah, with no Salah draft, we thought we'd put one in. I'm not a biggest fan of a no Salah drafts. I would put that out there. I think you have to have Salah. I'm pretty intent on that. If you're going without Salah, I think it's quite risky. So that's just my view on it. But if I had to rate this draft, I'll give it 4, 5 out of 10. I think there could be a lot of work done on this team. But yeah, that's just my opinion. What about you, Jordan?
I'll probably give it 6 out of 10.
Okay,
I'd say for this draft.
fair enough. So Jordan going 6. I'm more lean to a 4.5, 5. He's not got Salah. I think the defense could improve a lot, and then also maybe the bench. You've got playing players on the bench. Maybe spread your funds into the first team more. I feel like you've got too much money on your bench. But we've got some comments coming in here from FPL Penguin. He's in here. He says, "Hi lads." We've got VVV. He also saying he's debating Walker, cheap way into City defense at 5 million. They may sign Cucurella, but Pep doesn't throw new signings in usually, so Walker might be a good till wildcard time. Yep. Wild card. We do know there's an extra wild card, or pretty much because of the World Cup. So you could get Walker in, and if it doesn't work, you can always wild card out. I've got SK in the stream. Says yes, lads. Shout out to SK. He says we're being too nice. That's a 3 out of 10. Well, I said 4 out of 10, but yeah, we thought we put one in, no Salah draft in. But yeah, let's move on to the next draft. Just quickly, guys, if you've just joined our stream, don't forget to smash the like button and also subscribe if you're new. We're trying to get to 400 subscribers, so if we could do that before the season starts, that would be great. But hopefully, if we can't, yeah, if you could get us there, that would be good. Where's the next? Let me bring up the next team. So there you go. This is the next team, guys, on the draft, and this was sent in by FPL Fish on Twitter. He's gone with something a bit more template. We say gone with 4-4-2. I do like, from what I see, I do like this team. Let's just quickly read through what he's got. So he's gone with Sanchez in goal, the Brighton goalkeeper. He's gone with the back four of Trent, Robertson with the double up of Liverpool. He's got Cancelo, and he's gone with Diego Dalot. In midfield, he's gone with Grealish, Saka, Luis Diaz, and Rashford. And up top, he's gone with Kane and Haaland, the big hitting strikers up top. He's also gone no Salah. So there's 2 no Salah drafts. I don't know if this is a Twitter thing or are people actually willing to go without Salah? I find it a bit crazy, but I see there's a lot of teams, I guess, without Salah in it. I want to see if there's still, come deadline next week, are we still going to get no Salah in your drafts, or are you going to keep it like this? I'll be interested to see how many people just revert back to Salah. But yeah, let's talk about this draft very quickly. 4-4-2. The big talking points for this draft, I think Diego Dalot at 4.5 million. Do you reckon he could be a decent option, Jordan?
Yes, if Man City's defense can improve this season, because we saw last season they were in turmoil and utter.
Oh, Man United, you mean?
Yeah, Man United. Oh, yeah, Man United.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Dalot is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Diego Dalot for
Yeah.
Man United.
Yeah, it's only is the case. It's a wait and see for Dalot whether Man United's defense can improve from last season, because we don't know what kind of situation they'll be in at the start of the season. It's a wait and see for Man United. So I'm not too confident on bringing in the Man United defender personally, but again, it could work out because Man United do start well at the beginning of seasons, surprisingly.
Just my thoughts on Dalot is I think, what is he priced at? 4.5 million, which is quite cheap. It looks like he is the preferred option at right back ahead of Wan-Bissaka. It looks like Wan-Bissaka's not not in favour for Ten Hag, and he prefers to play Dalot. So I expect Dalot to start most games if he's fit. But regarding Dalot, I think his fixtures, he's got Brighton at game week 1. He's got Brentford. Liverpool's tough. Then he's got Southampton, and then Leicester, Arsenal. He could be a decent option for the first 2 games, but I just think there's still probably better options than Dalot, in my opinion. But he's an interesting pick as a bit of a differential. His ownership is at. Let me just double check what his ownership's at. Player information. So he's 4.9% only. So he's a bit of a differential, and he could be decent as going forward, because we did see him preseason. He did get an assist, I think. He is getting forward. But with Man United, obviously, there is a bit of that wait and see how they do. Obviously, last season they did struggle. So Dalot is an interesting pick. I'm not against him completely, but yeah, for me, I'd probably prefer other options in there. I like the double up Liverpool defense, Trent and Robertson. I think they are 2 of the better fullbacks that in the game. I think Robertson and Trent is a good pairing to have. You look at Liverpool's fixtures also. Liverpool start the season away to Fulham. And then they've got Palace, Man United, Bournemouth, Newcastle. A lot of good fixtures for Liverpool, and you can see them getting a couple clean sheets. So if you double up on the Liverpool defense, it could pay off. So he's also gone with no Salah, as we've mentioned, but he's gone with Grealish. What's your thoughts on Grealish, Jordan?
Grealish could be a really good pick for your team, especially if he gets a good start with Man City, because we don't know if he's going to be a nailed starter or if he's going to be like a bench option more than a starter and coming onto the pitch playing a few minutes. But Grealish is 7 mil, and he would be the perfect triple up on Man City, I think, for midfielder too, because he's not in that 8 mil bracket. It does save you money as well going for a cheaper midfielder like him. And I do think he's going to have a really good season, especially with the Man City players that have left. It might provide him with more game time with Man City too. And if it does, then I think he will flourish with Haaland being in the team as well up front. So it will be a good wait and see. But yeah, I would like to take the risk on it though, if I'm honest. I would like to include Grealish in my team. So I do like that choice that you've gone for. And
yeah, Grealish is interesting as well, because we know last season he did sort of struggle, didn't he?
yeah,
To live up to that expectation that we thought that Man City was signing. But he's at 7 million, so he's quite cheap, just below the 8 million bracket there is. So I like Grealish. I think he could be, because Sterling has left and because Jesus has left and all these guys, he's going to get more game time. That's for sure, in my opinion. So if he's playing more games down the left side, I think with Haaland now joining, I think he will be a bit nailed now. I don't think there is much of a worry for me that about minutes. I do think he's going to play a lot more this season. I'd expect him to. Second season, we know with Man City players, they usually take that 1 season to acclimatize to Pep's system. But now he's in there, he's settled. He knows how it is to play for Pep. And I think the second season is where you'll see the best of Grealish. I do think he could become a very good option at 5.6 ownership, which is very, very low. Maybe we're sleeping on Grealish, and I do expect a big season for him. And he is a bit of a spicy differential, in my opinion. If you want to go a bit different and break the template, I do like the look of Grealish, and I think there could be a big season ahead of him and Man City. If Man City are to succeed, I think they need Grealish to step up and kind of pay back the investment they made on him. But I do think he will hit the heights. Talking about Man City, obviously he's gone with Haaland as well up top and Kane. So do you like the double, Kane and Haaland up front, or would you prefer Salah in there, or what would you make of going Kane and Haaland?
I think it's pretty good. I'm astonished that with this draft being no Salah in it, that Kane and Haaland is able to fit in this team, especially with a decent midfield too. But with those two up front, with Kane having Southampton home, who you've captained, which is perfect pitch for captaincy pick between them, and Haaland having West Ham in their first game, you can basically alternate between the two in terms of which person has a better fixture than the other. So there's that option too. So there's no captaincy worries between Kane and Haaland, because you could just switch them between the two. But yeah, I do like the difference in that forward choice, because we've seen a lot of Haaland and Jesus, and that seems just to be like the main template for the forwards at the moment. But now that I see Kane and Haaland, it does give a bit of difference and variety. And obviously Kane's on penalties too, so that's good as well.
Yeah, it's different. Obviously he's gone with Luis Diaz ahead of Salah as a Liverpool attacker. You'll have to hope Luis Diaz outperforms Salah, or at least in a points per million basis. But can Luis Diaz match Salah's goal tally or returns? That's a wait and see. Saka's interesting. When the game first came out, we saw a lot of Saka in drafts. Well, I did anyway. And then as the game's launching, I feel like we've gotten Saka out of our teams, most of us. And then we're preferring Jesus ahead of Saka. And he's gone the other way. Obviously, he's put Saka in and he's left out Jesus, which is interesting. Rashford's another one. I actually had him in my draft in the last video we did, when my updated draft. I think I'm going to take Rashford out. But he's an interesting pick as well. Obviously, we've got another comment here from VVV. He says you can do a lot without Salah, but what a risk. Yeah. So when you take Salah out, it does let you kind of spread the funds a bit more, and then, your team could look good. But overall, Salah is a big risk going without him. But there's a lot of people that are, I guess, willing to take Salah out just so they can spread the funds around a bit. What do you make of Rashford? Just quickly.
Rashford has had a choice at 6.5 mil. I mean, it's not the worst pick, I would say, that you can go for, because obviously we've seen Trossard and other such players in that position put in teams. But I'd say Rashford is a bit of it could be good, but it could be bad at the same time, because it is Man United. But he could get off of a good start, if especially with Ten Hag's plan for him. He is expected to play more than he did last season, and obviously do better than last season, because it was not very good results from Rashford, as he was mostly on the bench and rarely played matches for Man United. But I do expect Rashford to play and be involved more with a more structured team, especially if Ronaldo does leave Man United. It gives Rashford and other attacking midfielders a more opportune moments for them in the games.
Yeah, I think with the Rashford, a lot will depend if Ronaldo leaves. If Ronaldo does leave, I think he becomes obviously a better option, just because there will be an attacker short. If Man United don't sign another attacking player, I think Rashford could come into our plans. I still prefer Sancho, I think, over him as a Man United attacking option. But at 6.5 million, if he gets the game time and he picks up a bit of form, I think it could become a cheap bargain. Because, season prior, I think it was at 9 million plus, 9.5. So he's come down a lot in price. So he's one I'm looking at. If he can pick up his old form, maybe he becomes a serious option for us. But game week 1, you are taking a bit of a risk, I think, but it could definitely pay off. Brighton at home. If Rashford starts, there's no reason why he can't get any attacking returns. And then the rest of the team is quite template. You got Trent, Robertson. Both of them together, I think, is a good choice. Cancelo's quite template. Luis Diaz's ownership's quite high. Obviously, Grealish is a nice differential you've got in there. And yeah, the attack's interesting, Kane and Haaland. So if we had to rate this team, Jordan, what would you say your rating is out of 10?
I'll probably give it a 7 out of 10 for me. I mean, for a no Salah draft, it's really good. If I'm honest, it's probably the best no Salah draft I've seen so far.
Yeah, I think it's quite decent for a no Salah draft. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's decent, but as always, there's that risk with no Salah that I'm not willing to take. But yeah, thank you FPL Fish for sending in this draft, and we hope you guys enjoy the comments on the team. But let's move on to the next team that we got sent through from FPLB on Twitter. Thank you for sending in your team. He's also gone with a 4-4-2. But this one does include Salah. I think this is the first Salah draft we've had in today. Obviously, you've only gone through 3 drafts so far. But 4-4-2, what do you make of it? Just your off the top, like what stands out to you first?
I think Martinelli stands out for me because there's a bit of uncertainty whether Martinelli will be a nailed pick for Arsenal. As we've seen all the new signings that Arsenal have made, we're not sure whether if he's going to be in the starting 11 as much now with that in mind. But also, another thing that interests me is the double Man United as well, with Dalot and Rashford being in the team. Not many people have opted for Man United players, really, in drafts, but I'm seeing a lot more of them now. So there must be something I don't know that other people do with this.
I think it's preseason. You know, Man United have looked pretty decent in preseason. I know it's only preseason, but they have scored a few goals. Dalot's been getting involved, and it looks like Dalot is now Man United's right back ahead of Wan-Bissaka. So I think people, because he's cheap, because he plays for Man United, I think there are people that are looking at that thinking he could become a decent option. But yeah, talking about Martinelli, I like Martinelli. Was it 6 million, isn't he? I think
Yes, I think
he has the potential to be one of the better 6 million midfielders in the game if he is nailed. I think if I knew he'd play every game, obviously which we don't know, I would definitely have him in my team. I think he probably is the best 6 million option in the game. But obviously it depends if he's going to play. But I do believe he will get quite a lot of game time this season, because in the last preseason, I think when Arsenal won 4-0 against Chelsea, I did think he played on the left, didn't he? I think he started on the left.
Yeah, he
If
started.
anyone did, unless anyone could correct me in the chat, I'm pretty sure he did. And then up front, obviously, you've gone Kane and Jesus. So he's gone with the double Arsenal, which I like. I think Arsenal's fixtures warrant that as well, potentially, because Arsenal do have a good start to the season in terms of fixtures. Kane's obviously very interesting. So he's gone Kane over Haaland. Have you thought about Kane Haaland too much? Because I sent out a tweet a few days ago on our Twitter. If you don't follow us, guys, on our Twitter, do check us out on Twitter, the FPL Duo. Because when we tell you guys to send out our teams, if you follow us on Twitter, you'll see it first, and you can send us whatever you want, and it'll be easier to contact us on there. So Kane v Haaland, what's your thoughts? Are you siding towards anyone, or what would you make of it?
I want to see what Haaland can do in the Premier League, and it's worth a risk having him in your team just to see what he can do first. Because even if he doesn't start off well for Man City, let's say he gets a bit of a dry spell, he doesn't get any goals, just gets like 1 assist or something in the first 5 fixtures, because of his price bracket, you can easily switch to Kane if you don't find Haaland is working for you in your team. So there is that flexibility of switching from another forward, like I just mentioned, like Harry Kane, just in case that Haaland doesn't work out for you. But because of Kane's low ownership too at the moment, it's not much of a risk not going for Harry Kane, and more to go for Haaland, who is more owned by players in drafts. So there is that to consider also, that you won't be taking much of a risk if you stick with Haaland, but you will be taking more of a risk if you stick with Harry Kane.
So there's a week to go of the season starting, pretty much exactly 7 days, I believe. If you had to pick now, Haaland or Kane in your team, and you can only pick one, who are you going with as of now?
I'll still be picking Haaland from this
Okay.
moment on.
Okay, fair enough. I think I'm actually siding towards Harry Kane as we get closer to the deadline. I think I will make my decision properly on Saturday, because obviously the Community Shield is on Saturday. Liverpool play Man City in the Community Shield. If I see Haaland plays really well, he scores a couple goals, and they perform well against Liverpool, then maybe I stick with Haaland. But I am waiting for that Community Shield game to see how Haaland plays. I do believe he will start. But I do like Harry Kane. I think Southampton looks very good for the game week 1 fixture. And we just know Haaland is a proven goal scorer in the league. He's on penalties as well. So, yeah, I'm not against going Harry Kane. I just slightly leaning towards Harry Kane, I think, over Haaland. Even though I've got Haaland in my draft at the moment. But, yeah. And the rest of the team has got Gazaniga, De Silva, Nico Williams, obviously the decent, cheap option to have, who will start games, and then Greenwood on the bench. All in all, the team is quite template, but I do like he's gone Harry Kane over Haaland. I think that might be more popular come close to deadline next week. And then he's also gone Diego Dalot, as we've mentioned. We've seen quite a few of him in drafts. James is interesting as well. When the game dropped, I was actually considering double Chelsea defense, but seeing how the seeing them in preseason and also the signings they've made, I'm actually not as keen on Chelsea's defense, going double up on them. Like, I saw a lot of drafts with Chilwell and James, but as we get closer to the deadline, I think one is enough. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think one is enough. I think going two would be too risky. As what we've seen from pre-season, Chelsea, it's not been great in terms of defence. I think that's mostly contributed to Rudiger's leaving as well. That's kind of shaken up the Chelsea defence a bit, and maybe less communication, less order, less organisation. Maybe the players need more time to readjust to this, perhaps. But they did sign
Koulibaly.
Yeah, Koulibaly. So that is technically Rudiger's replacement. So we'll have to see what he can do for his replacement.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how Chelsea obviously acclimatized. Now the Rudiger's left, they're gonna have Koulibaly in there. So, but I think they should be fine. It's just I'm not so keen on the double up as I was maybe 3 weeks ago with Chilwell and James. I think you're better off going Liverpool double up with Robertson and Trent, or a Cancelo and Edison, or a Cancelo and Diaz double up in defense. I do believe that would be better for you guys.
Yeah. What I would do, I'd probably change Ramsdale to Mendy, the Chelsea goalkeeper, and then downgrade James to Zinchenko for Arsenal. Then that would be my personal opinion on that.
Okay, but all in all, I do like this draft. I think it's pretty decent. If you had to rate it, Jordan, what are you going?
Probably give it 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, okay. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's pretty good. I like the Salah and Diaz double up in Liverpool, and Jesus and Martinelli. I like the Kane pick. Dalot's an interesting shout. James, Cancelo, Trent. It's quite a template, but I think it's not a bad thing going template, because I think you should pick who you think is going to score the most points and not worry too much about the ownership. But yeah, thank you FBLB for sending in this team. And yeah, let's read some comments out. SK says he likes Aït-Nouri in the 4.5 million defender slot. I thought it was risky, but Marcel has left Wolves. Aït-Nouri is decent. I also like Johnny. Chrono FN, can you rate mine? I comment on your tweet. Yeah, guys, we've already took these screenshots from our Twitter, and we've already done this. So if we have time, we'll try to do your teams as well. But that's why I say, guys, follow us on Twitter so you don't miss when we tweet out links, when we ask you guys to send your teams in, because obviously we've done the stream now, and we put the slides up already. So we'll try to get to your team if we can at the end of the stream. We've got FPL Jesus. I think that's a picture of Jesus in the profile pic. Anyway, to send teams via Discord. We actually don't have a Discord, but we will be making one soon, I think. We'll probably make one soon, but at the moment we do not have a Discord, but that's something on our list. Triple V, Arsenal had a terrible season 2020-21, and we're underpriced last season when they had a decent season. Man, you might be sleepers and underpriced. Yeah, Man United could be. Obviously, we know Man United struggled massively last season. So are they um, gonna improve? A lot will depend on if Ten Hag could get them playing again. But obviously, that's a wait and see as well. David Hamill says Man United cheap picks look good, but Ronaldo could ruin them. Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't know what's gonna happen with Ronaldo. To be honest, he looks like he wants to leave. That's going to make Man United's attacking options very either you want to get them or you would avoid them. If Ronaldo, depending on what happens with him, I think is quite key. Because if he
yeah,
stays, I think the other players like Rashford might become lesser of an option. But if he does leave, Rashford and these guys, I think, become more into our thoughts. We also got a comment here from Chrono FN opinion on Vardy. Vardy is an interesting pick. I've not seen him in any team so
no,
far. I think it's because he's at an awkward price bracket. He's 9.5 million, I think. So there's not many players 9.5 million up top because you've either got 11.5, which is Haaland and Kane, and then you've got players like Jesus at 8 million. Vardy's just Vardy's just in the middle of that. So I think his price bracket, if he was 8 million or something or 8.5, maybe people would want to go for him. And I think Leicester's fixtures aren't the best either. Awkward price bracket. And yeah, they just Leicester they wasn't playing well last season, so I think that puts people off as well. And maybe he becomes an option down the line, but definitely for us, not game week one, and we're not really looking at Vardy if we're being honest. What about you, Jordan?
yeah. It was with Vardy last season as well. He had a lot of injury problems, and when he was back from injury, he would play one match, rest, play another match, rest. So and he's getting on with his age as well. So he's not a kind of player that will play consistently in matches now. He'll sort of be playing one match, then be rested the next. So he's not really a viable option to have compared to other forwards like Kane, Jesus, Haaland, more nailed forwards that will probably do better than Vardy will and probably outscore, get more points than Vardy will as they'll play more matches and get more returns.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. Obviously, Chrono says Vardy always scores against decent teams and is on pens, looking decent in preseason. Yeah, Vardy's always he's always up there, isn't he, in the goal scoring charts? But with Vardy, I just think that price range, you've got a 9.5 million is awkward at that bracket where you could get Jesus for 8 million and save 1.5. And better fixtures, way better fixtures. So that's my thoughts on Leicester and Vardy. Let's move on to the next team. And this was sent in by FPL Gene. This is a 4-5-1. So he's gone big in midfield. I've not seen many 4-5-1s this season, to be honest. Interestingly, he's got no Haaland, no Kane. So he's gone big, or very big in midfield of De Bruyne, Son, and Salah. Three big premiums, and he's gone Rashford and Neto as the two cheap like enablers, I guess, to let him have that midfield. And then Jesus up top on his own. Defense of Trent, Gabriel, Diego Dalot, and Botman of Newcastle, and Sanchez up top. Very interesting team. Three midfield premium players, Jordan. What's your opinion on this? Having De Bruyne, Son, and Salah in the same team.
The problem with having the three premiums in this team is there's going to be one particular area where it's going to be lacking, which is the defense. Because as you see, Trent is the only decent defender you have because there's no Cancelo, there's no
James,
no like other such
even Robertson.
defenders.
Obviously, he can't get any premium defenders, obviously, because he's gone massive in midfield.
Yeah, that's the only issue with going three premiums. There's going to
Yeah,
be a sacrifice in either the defense or forward or bench. And I think with three midfielders, it's at premium prices. It's too hard, and also it's kind of not really worth it because if you're only captaining, let's say, Son, you're not really going to captain De Bruyne because you have Salah there too. So you're only going to captain two, I'll say premiums where you rotate between their easy fixtures. and it's only really worth it if you're going to only captain premiums like Son or Salah or De Bruyne and Salah, just having 2 rather than 3, because you're just having to waste that premium slot with someone cheaper, and where you can spread the budget more, upgrading your defense more better.
Yeah, and also one thing, obviously he's got Jesus up top on his own. If, let's say, Harry Kane or Haaland decide to bang in a hat trick, game week 1 or game week 2, this guy might get FOMO, and then how is he going to bring someone in? He'll have to downgrade one of them. He'll have to downgrade one of the big midfielders, maybe De Bruyne, and then that's going to take him a hit. So if he wants to bring in a Kane or a Haaland, you'll have to take a hit. There's less flexibility, I think, with this draft. If you, let's say, Cancelo or James playing really well, attacking, he'll also have to do the same kind of thing in defense, because he's kind of like put all his eggs in the midfield basket with this draft. It's an interesting draft, obviously, but I don't think you need I don't like the 3 premium draft. I know the 3-mium. I'd prefer it if you had a Haaland in there and then go like 2 midfielders and 1 striker rather than 3 midfielders. I don't know if you need that personally. But Neto is interesting. Obviously, we've seen him in a lot of drafts. Talking about Neto here, Chrono says he prefers, I think, Podence over Neto. Could be cheeky due to them both having nailed on the team sheet and both having the same amount of returns in preseason. He is less than 1% owned. Yeah, Podence could be decent as well. I know I've seen the preseason. He scored also a few goals. I think Neto is just cheaper, ain't he? Just 0.5 cheaper. So I think the price is why people prefer Neto. But yeah, Podence could be decent as an option. But the midfield looks fine. What would you make of it then, if you have to give it a rating? Because obviously, maybe there's not enough flexibility in this team, and also about the bench, he's got 2 non-playing forwards pretty much, so he's not got anyone off the bench. Or Nico Williams, I guess, can play. But I think there's. What would you make of it if you had to rate it out of 10?
Well, the issue is as well, before I rate it, is Neto, because obviously we've seen him have prior injury issues before. So let's say a scenario where Neto gets injured and you have to replace him with another player. On the bench wise, you've got Williams, Greenwood, and Archer, which are not really, I'll say, great picks to replace a player like Neto in the midfield. So you have to consider that also. If you try to get another player in at 5.5, you're going to really struggle to get a decent midfielder at that price, because Neto is the only one really in that bracket which is decent enough to replace. But if I had to give a rating for this team, I'll probably give it a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10, okay.
Yeah.
I think this is still better than the first team we got, potentially. So I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. I'm not a biggest fan of it because obviously it's not that flexible. But yeah, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Okay, apparently Podence is the same price as Neto. So yeah, that could be interesting actually. If so, yeah. Let's move on. Oh yeah, so I'll give it a 5 out of 10 this draft. We have another draft for you guys, and this was sent in by Joshua on Twitter. This is another 4-4-2. Slightly different 4-4-2. So he's gone Ramsdale in goal, and then Cancelo, Trent, James, Matty Cash, Neto, Mount, Salah, Rashford, Jesus, and Kane. Before we speak about this draft, guys, can everyone please in the stream drop a like on the video if you haven't already? Also, guys, we're very close to 400 subscribers. If you can get us up to 400 subscribers soon, we would very much appreciate that. So like the stream if you're enjoying the content, and also subscribe if you're new. Where was I? So yeah, 4-4-2. The interesting pick he's gone with is Matty Cash that we'll have to discuss. Mason Mount is another interesting one. Let's start on Matty Cash, Jordan. What do you make of that pick?
I'm intrigued by this pick because Matty Cash is 20% owned by FPL managers, which I'm a bit confused on because of obviously Aston Villa's fixtures. At some point, they go against 3 really tough teams. So when you get to that point in the game week, you're going to have to take out Matty Cash or bench him because you won't be playing him for those 3 challenging matches. I think in game week. I think from
Yeah,
game week 5.
yeah, that's correct. So he's got Bournemouth game week 1, then Everton, then Palace, then West Ham, Arsenal, Man City, and then Leicester. I don't know if Leicester is a red fixture. Maybe it is, but according to FPL website, they've got 3 tough fixtures in there. West Ham's also probably tough as well. So 4 tough fixtures after game week 4. Matty Cash is quite highly owned, 20.6%. So he's popular in the game. I think it's because of the first 2 or 3 fixtures, but then he's one of those players that you'll probably have to take out after game week or during game week 4. I don't know why he's that popular as well, if I'm being honest. Let us know if you guys have Matty Cash in your team. I'm not the biggest fan of starting with Aston Villa purely because I don't know what I'm going to get with them. Last season, they were one of those weird teams. I felt like they were never going to they're never going to get relegated, but they're never going to really challenge for Europe. So they were just in the middle there. I'm interested to see what they do now because they've signed a couple players. Gerrard's first full season, I believe. Maybe they'll improve. But for me, Villa are a wait and see. I know in preseason they were decent against Man United, but it is just preseason. So we'll have to wait and see what Villa do. I think Matty Cash, Luka Dean, they will get points. Don't get me wrong. They have potential for attacking hauls. But I'm not so keen on Villa as a team. I don't think I don't know what do you make of Villa as a team for this season. They're just a bit. I'm just unsure on them. I have to wait and see what they do.
Yeah, I think they're a team that most people would be waiting, seeing what happens, especially with Steven Gerrard just entering the manager's frame for them. It'll be interesting to see how he copes with this new season now at the beginning. But for Aston Villa, and I think only the ownership is high for Matty Cash is because obviously for the Bournemouth new promoted team, because we have seen that similar to Bruno Guimaraes' ownership because they have Nottingham Forest home as well. So that might be the cause, just because they have a newly promoted team in their first game week. That leads to Cash's high ownership. But
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't really consider Aston Villa as an option at this stage in the season. I'd prefer to wait and see what Gerrard and the players can do, and depend on how they do, whether I'll have Matty Cash or Leon Bailey in my team or Coutinho.
All right. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment on Villa. I think both of us agree on them, and we're not so keen on them. We're going to wait and see what they do. Mason Mount, we've got to chat about Mason Mount. What do you make of him?
Oh, yeah, Mason Mount, that's an interesting one because he didn't provide me with much luck last season, and I'm not really a keen pick for me personally. But he is an interesting one because his ownership is low. A lot of people have preferred to go for Kai Havertz instead, as he would be the
Well, he's
forward.
9.1% Mason Mount, so he's low, but he's
Yeah,
8 million, ain't he? So the
yeah,
options there are many.
yeah. There's many more options to consider over Mason Mount. But for Chelsea, we haven't really seen great expectations from the pre-season, as we've mentioned before. Also, Mount could be a rotation risk now with Raheem Sterling now in Chelsea's team, and we're not quite sure what Chelsea will do at the start of this season, whether they will struggle or have a good start. It's very unsure for Chelsea, especially what they've been through, which is off topic. So we're going to have to see about Mason Mount, but I don't think it's a player that I'll be featuring in my team. But for people that do have Mason Mount, it is a good option because obviously he's 9% owned, differential. And if he does start, he'll probably get a return or two as well. There's no doubt in that. Mason Mount is a good player when he gets going in
Mm,
matches, and he's very attacking minded. So
yeah.
yeah, that's my thoughts on Mason Mount.
He had very good stats last season, if we remember. He got double-digit goals and assists. I think he got 10 plus goals. I think he got like 11, 12 assists. So I do think he's one of the 100% nailed picks in Chelsea's. I think if he's fit, he's going to play in every game pretty much. I don't see him being a rotation issue, in my opinion. I think he's going to play most games. I think he's a good option. I think Chelsea don't have many great attacking players in the sense of last season. You saw a lot of them struggled, and Mason Mount was kind of bailing them out in games when Timo Werner couldn't score, Lukaku. I like Mount as an option, but I don't know if I'll be going with him at game week 1. I think later down the line in the season, I think he's going to definitely be an option. I think he'll be one of the better options at Chelsea. Him, Havertz could be decent as well. Maybe Sterling, or we'll have to see what he does. But Mason Mount, I think he's a good option. Fixtures look good, guys. Everton, Tottenham, Leeds, Leicester, Southampton, West Ham, Fulham in the first 7. They don't play a top. Oh, actually, they got Tottenham game week 2, I guess. But then they got Liverpool in game week 8. So other than that, the fixtures look quite good for me. And yeah, Mason Mount, if you want to go different, break the template, he's definitely one I'll be looking at as an option. But obviously, there's Diaz, there's Saka, there's players like that in around that price bracket, which seem more popular than him. And maybe we are overlooking him slightly because he did have pretty good stats last season. But let us know, guys, what you think of Mount. Are most people sleeping on Mount, or do you think it's justified? You're not sure about Chelsea? Let us know in the comments. Also, guys, don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy the stream, and also subscribe if you're new. And then talking about the bench, he's got Nico. As we've seen, he's probably the most popular bench defender there is at 4 million. Was he 4.5? I can't remember.
Williams is 4.5, I think.
Yeah,
4 mil. He is
yeah,
4 mil.
yeah. And Andreas, obviously, he's probably the best 4.5 midfielder in the game, who looks like he's going to play most. He looks like he's going to be a starter for Fulham, but obviously playing for Fulham, how much can you expect in terms of attacking returns? And then Greenwood, obviously, just bench fodder. If we had to rate this team, Jordan, what are you giving it?
For this team, I'll probably rate it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. Because it seems decent, I do like it. I'll give it a 7. Yeah, I'll give it a 7. I think it's decent. I like Salah. Mount's an interesting pick over someone like Diaz, who's quite popular. Jesus Kane up front looks good. And yeah, Ramsdale in goal. Also, we haven't really discussed much about Ramsdale. What do you make of Ramsdale as a goalie? A start in game week 1.
It's a very decent pick because it's like having like a Zinchenko or Gabriel or Ben White or Tierney. Ramsdale last season was really good as well. Like we saw him doing some amazing saves during the season, more mid to starting part of the season. Later on, it was a little bit of a downfall for Arsenal, but I think that was down to injuries and suspensions in the defence, which put more pressure on Ramsdale. But I do think he'll have a very good start this season. Now that the defence is all rested, and also the new defender that Arsenal have brought, which is Zinchenko as well. So there's a good outlook for Arsenal in terms of defence, and the way they've been playing pre-season, it's been looking good for Arsenal overall. So
Yep.
Ramsdale is a decent pick to start your season with.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ramsdale could be decent. He's at 5 million as well. If you want to go that bracket, obviously there's Mendy at Chelsea as well you can go for, but it'll be interesting to see who we do go for come that deadline next week. Moving on to we've got to get through a couple of teams. We're going to try to get through some of these quickly. We've got Kuanda, who sent us in this draft. Thank you for sending in your draft, mate. He's gone with 4-4-2. Talking about Mendy, he's gone with Mendy in the net. He's gone with a back 4 of Trent, Diaz, Cancelo, and James. So he's gone double City at the back. He's gone with Podence and Neto as a double Wolves attack, which we're going to speak about. He's gone with De Bruyne and Salah and Jesus and Martial. So Martial is a first for us. We have not seen him in any of the drafts today. There's a lot to kind of dissect in this draft, I think. Let's quickly speak about Martial. Well, let's start Martial because Man United in preseason, I think he's their top scorer with 3 goals and like 1 assist. He's looked a bit decent in preseason. Obviously, Man United they've been playing pretty well. But as we know, it's just preseason and we can't take too much judgment off a preseason game. Do you like Martial? Was he 7 million option? what do you make of him like as an option in game week 1? Like, do you think it's quite risky? Would it depend on Ronaldo? Where do you go with him?
Yeah, I think the most thing it relies on is whether Ronaldo stays or goes for Man United, because that really does depend on players like Martial. If it gives him that able or ability to be a forward option, because with Ronaldo there, it kind of diminishes him as a player to perform as well as he could do if Ronaldo does leave. So it does solely rest on whether Ronaldo stays or goes if we want to consider a player like Martial in the team, because it just gives more flexibility, I think, for Martial.
All right, let's
If
assume Ronaldo does leave and he's gone.
Yeah.
Does he still become an option for you, or do you just think you rather spend a bit more and get someone else in, or maybe an Antonio, or I don't know, other options around that price mark, Callum Wilson, etc.
I would like to take a punt at a Man United player, because last season we really couldn't pick Man United players as they were very poor. But with this season coming up with a new manager and a new fresh start for Man United, I wouldn't mind taking a punt at Martial or a Rashford or someone from Man United, just to have one player from there just to see what they can do this season. As because we're definitely going to see an improvement from Man United as we've seen in the pre-season. I know it's different to the matches in pre-season, but I'm sure Man United can build bridges this season and have a better start and middle and end to their season. And Martial could be part of that. I mean, his ownership is 7.7%.
I'm
So
surprised it's that high.
yeah, some people have caught Martial's eye in drafts at 7 mil as well. So he is a cheaper option than Jesus would be and other such forwards. So I'll say he's a good, interesting risk personally to
Mm.
take.
Yeah, a lot will depend on Ronaldo, I think. And yeah, the rest of the draft's quite interesting. Do you like the fact that he's gone Podence and Neto, which is double Wolves? I'm not so sure about that personally.
No, no, I don't think it's necessary to have Podence and Neto. I think only one would really be sufficient. Probably Podence, just because he's less likely to be have injury issues than Neto would. But at the same time, Neto and both of them are good options. I'll say you can't really split the two between them. As someone mentioned earlier, they've both had similar stats. I think one player
They've
is
got-
owned less than the other.
Yeah, and also with Wolves, my issue having two attacking Wolves players in your midfield is the fact that they don't score a lot of goals. So if they don't score a lot of goals, I don't know if I'll be going with two Wolves attacking players. Maybe have one and then maybe someone else. Maybe if you could stretch to Rashford somehow, downgrade somewhere else and try get Rashford in at 6.5. Because yeah, Wolves attack. They don't get many goals. So that's my only worry with Wolves. I know the preseason they've scored a few, but they are quite a defensive team. So that's my worry there. De Bruyne is an interesting pick. What do you make of De Bruyne? He's a bit of a differential now.
Yeah,
I see.
not many people have picked De Bruyne, which is a bit of a surprise because I think we're kind of forgetting how good De Bruyne is.
Oh yeah,
Is
the
it?
thing with De Bruyne, we know how good he is. It's just how do you fit him in if you have Salah and Haaland? That's the
Yeah,
problem.
that's the problem because he is 12 mil and is tight to fit these premium players in, as we know. De Bruyne is 16% owned,
Yeah, it's crept
so
up slightly.
yeah, it has
I remember
crept
he
up
was
a
under
bit.
10% when I checked, so he's getting up there.
Yeah, he's getting up there. He's somehow being fitted into drafts, maybe sacrifices from other positions. But yeah, I do like De Bruyne as a different option compared to what we have seen so far. Because there ain't been many drafts that I've seen with De Bruyne in it, obviously, because of his prices are awkward to fit other premiums in. But yeah, I do like De Bruyne. I mean, he's got the experience at Man City. He's a goal scorer and a threat.
Yeah, the team's interesting as we've got Triple City as well. He's only got so he's gone with actually Trent. Obviously, Trent's in every draft from I think Trent's in every draft we've seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we had to rate this draft, I'll give this a 6.5. Maybe 6.5 out of 10. I'll give it. Maybe a 7. What about you?
I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay, so a bit lower than me. On the bench, he's gone Greenwood, Andreas, and Nico as well. The bench is okay. Guess is Andreas and Nico Williams are very popular bench players, obviously because of their price and the fact that they're going to probably play most games for their clubs.
Yeah. I do think again there's too much money in goalkeepers. You got Mendy at 5 mil and Sanchez at 4.5. Again, it's probably better to have a non-playing goalkeeper and keeping another playing goalkeeper to save budget.
Oh yeah, didn't realize that. Obviously, you got Sanchez with 2 playing goalkeepers. I prefer to have one, but I see some people like to rotate goalies. I don't really like doing that. But yeah, each to their own, I guess. But yeah, I think the team is good. I like Diaz and Cancelo as well. Double up City. I think that's quite. I'm not so sure about the double up Chelsea though. James and Mendy. I'd definitely rather. I'll try to upgrade James to Robertson and have triple Liverpool. Definitely. I think that's one improvement that you could make in your team, getting Robertson in ahead of James and then having Mendy as a Chelsea cover up. Moving on to the other team. This was sent in by Nicholas. Number 442. Another interesting team with 3 premiums. Another 3 premium draft, but no Salah again. I'm seeing a lot of no Salah drafts.
Yeah,
It's just a
crazy.
it's a massive. I don't know if this is popular or is it, like I said, what's Salah's ownership at? Because
It
there's a lot
has
of people with no.
dropped.
It's dropped.
Surprisingly, it has dropped. It's 56 now percent. So
What was it before? 64.
he was above 60. I know that for a fact. He was above 60%. I think Jesus is more owned than Salah now.
Yeah, I've seen that. Well, I find it interesting that Salah isn't. Well, 56 is still a lot,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've seen a lot of drafts with no Salah in, and I find that a bit crazy, if I'm being honest. But yeah, let's chat about this draft. He's got Kane, he's got Son, he's on double Spurs attack. So I'm guessing he thinks Spurs are gonna have a good start to the season. He's gone De Bruyne, he's gone Jesus, Gomes and Neto as well, as Neto as an enabler. Gomes at 6 million. He's gone Tomiyasu, Matty Cash, Trent, James, Mendy, and then Nico, Andreas, Greenwood is all in defense. What do you make of this team? Anything that you want to talk about this draft?
There's only really Tomiyasu that I would be interested to talk about because we have heard recently he had a slight injury in the preseason games, which has therefore left people in doubt whether he'll start in the first game, which Arsenal have against Crystal Palace. But in the case he doesn't, a lot of people have switched to Zinchenko or Gabriel in that case. But Tomiyasu is still a decent player to have still. I think he'll do very well this season.
Yeah.
I think his ownership was over 10%. So some people do have him still in the draft. He did drop a little bit just from that injury scare. But yeah, he's a good pick for Arsenal defender. He's attack-minded. He can get goals, assists.
Yeah, also the thing with this draft that I have an issue with, I think there's no Liverpool attacking player in there. There's no Salah, there's no Diaz. Liverpool, one of the best attacking sides in the league. They get a lot of goals, probably just behind Man City. I just think you have to have at least, if you don't have Salah, maybe a Diaz in there. I think that could be a bit of a risk, especially with Liverpool's good fixtures. Do you really want to go without a Liverpool attacking player? I'm not so sure. For me, the draft is a 4 out of 10. Just purely because of that, probably. Maybe I'm biased, but yeah, what do you reckon?
I'll probably give it a 5.5.
Okay.
Out of 10.
Fair enough. So yeah, moving on to the final team today. We had 9 teams for you guys. 8 teams. Sorry if we couldn't do everyone's team. We might do another video if you guys enjoy this type of content. We'll probably do a part 3, maybe, if you guys want that. But the season is now kicking off soon, so if we could fit that in, maybe next week we'll try. But we've got Lewis here who sends us another draft. He's gone with a big at the back 5-3-2. Big at the back seems to be slowly a bit dying down. I think when the game came out, a lot of 5 at the back drafts. Then we start moving to a bit of 4-4-2. 5-3-2. James, Trent, Zinchenko, Robertson, and Christensen, and Mahrez, Martinelli, Salah, Kane, and Jesus. And then in the bench, he's got Colback, Arthur, and Andreas. What do you make of this team?
Oh, it's quite interesting because there's only one Man City player, which is Mahrez, who I'll say is not as much of a risk now that other players have left, but it's still a risk, especially without Cancelo and Haaland in your team as well. Relying on just Man City
Oh, he's
player
got
and
Edison in goal though, which I've just.
oh yeah, sorry,
But
I didn't see that
either
one.
way, I mean that's how he's covering the City defense, I guess. But
Yeah,
no Cancelo, no Haaland, which are the popular picks.
yeah, I think going Cancelo over Edison, you got more of a attack return from Cancelo, whereas Edison will just get clean sheets and maybe get a bonus if he's fortunate, but you don't really get bonus points. Zinchenko is interesting. I've been talking about him through this stream, and it's the first draft I've seen him in, which is really good. I do like him. He's at 5 mil, newly transferred in as well from Man City, and also with that link up with Jesus up front, that's really good.
Yeah, I think he could be a decent option, personally,
Yeah,
Zinchenko.
yeah, his
I like
ownership
him.
has risen a bit. He's almost at 10% ownership, so he might overtake Tomiyasu eventually. We'll have to see closer to the deadline. Christensen's an interesting one from Leeds. I don't think I've seen a Leeds player in any of these drafts that we've been through.
Nope.
Would you take on having Christensen in this team then?
Well, let me just bring up their fixtures because I'm actually not sure who Leeds have. So yeah, so they've got Wolves, Southampton, Chelsea, Brighton, Everton, Brentford. If you look at FPL's ticker, they've got a lot of green fixtures, but I'm not so sure about Leeds' defense. I mean, they could be decent. I've seen a lot of people go with Meslier in goal, so maybe it's not the worst thing in the world to have Christensen. I know he's a new signing, I believe, so I just don't know enough about the player, how he plays, because I do believe he's just signed. So yeah, I think he's a massive differential, 0.5% ownership. So not many people have him in their team. I'll probably look to avoid him. He's 5 million as well. I've just checked his price, 5 million. I think they're probably better at 5 million. You know, I'd probably prefer a Trippier ahead of him for attacking returns potentially, or a Lewis Dunk at Brighton, or even someone like there's a lot of 4.5 million options like a Johnny. But yeah, he could 5 million. I don't know if I'll be going with the Leeds defender for 5 million. That's just my thoughts. But the team's interesting. Very interesting. Five of the big at the back. I like Kane Jesus. I think Kane Jesus is probably going to be more popular than Haaland when we come game week deadline. But Kane's ownership is creeping up. Mahrez is interesting, differential. Martinelli, we've mentioned a bit, previously in the stream. We do like him. Salah also I like him, but this draft I'll give it a 7.5. I like it a bit. I think it's good. But Christensen, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I'll give the draft a 7 out of 10. I do like the difference in obviously Zinchenko and Edison in those positions, and Mahrez too. That's different.
Yeah, it's an interesting team. But yeah, guys, that is the end of all the teams for today. We hope you guys enjoyed the content. Obviously, hour-long stream. Also, guys, we've got to do a quick few things before we do go, and that is to follow us on Twitter. So if you don't follow us on Twitter, guys, get over on there, the FPL Duo, and follow us on there, because when we do these type of videos, we usually put out a link and we ask for your team, so you don't miss anything. So do follow us on there, and next time we'll try to do some of your team. Sorry for everyone that, people that did watch the stream that sent us in their team. Now we can't go back and do it, but we'll try to put a part 3 out if you guys want us to. Also, guys, don't forget to like the stream. Also, comment on the stream. Go back after the video ends. Go back and drop a comment. That really helps the algorithm. And yeah, we'll probably wrap the stream up. season starts very soon. I'm excited,
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's gonna. I can't comprehend how excited I am because there's only 7 days left until we kick off the season again.
Yeah, we've got a comment here from David. Says, when are we seeing your final drafts? I think we're going to do a team selection probably on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Wednesday we'll probably have a stream out on a team selection or something like that midweek. Obviously, deadline stream. You guys got to join us on the deadline stream. That's going to be big. On Friday, I believe at 5:30, we'll go live. Join us on the deadline stream. That's going to be a big one. And yeah, we'll have a final draft out probably Wednesday. But yeah, it's all getting close now.
Yeah.
We've got a comment in from Foram. Rate my team. Sanchez, Steele, Trippier, Dalot, Justin, Tomiyasu, Nico. He's got no Trent in there already straight away. I don't know about that. Diaz, Sterling, Bruno Fernandes, Neto, Andreas, Kane, Jesus, Haaland. I wouldn't personally. I'm not a fan of the free pre. Oh, he's got Bruno. I think Salah over Bruno. I think there's a lot of players over Bruno personally for me. No Trent as well. No Cancelo. It's very different. I'm not so brave as this guy. But what do you make of this, Jordan?
Well, it's very big in the midfield and forward positions. That's without a doubt. It's only lacking defence because you got Trippier, Dalot, and Justin. That's not really ideal, especially as Huss has mentioned. Trent is not there. I mean, he's going to be in most FPL drafts, so that could affect your rank very much without him.
Sorry for that. I didn't know. But yeah, we apologize. But yeah, I think there is improvements you can make on your team. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed our thoughts on your team. But Trent, Cancelo. I think Trent and Salah for me are a must. Even Cancelo potentially, yeah. For me, probably, yeah. You can see by the ownership, but play your own game, I guess. You don't need to. No one's you could say is any player essential to having your team, but I think Salah and for me Trent's an essential. Basically, you have to have him for me anyway.
Yeah.
Salah there's people that think they can get without him, and then have the other premiums. I mean, there's always other ways to play the game. I guess that's what we love to feel.
I mean, I know if you want to do it like strategically, that's the sort of place you go to. But if you want to do it for fun, experiment and see what other players can do apart from those, then it's not wrong to go different. Like, it could really work out for you. But that's just what we suggest to most people that don't have these players, that they're essential if you want to win or have a high rank in fantasy.
Yeah. And then we'll just wrap up with this comment from Kwanda. It says, thanks, very good comments today. Thank you for everyone that has watched the stream. Thank you for everyone that's put a comment in. Thank you for everyone who's liked the stream as well. We're trying to say thank you guys for watching. Obviously, season's about to start, so we'll have a lot of content out for you guys every week, 2-3 videos a week. So don't forget, guys, subscribe if you're new, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. And yeah, we'll wrap the stream up unless you have anything else to add, Jordan.
Just thank you for everyone that sent their drafts in that we weren't able to read. We just picked the ones that we thought were different and not template. But thank you for those who sent them in anyway to us. It's very appreciated.
Yeah, as always, guys, thanks everyone for that. It does engage in the chat and also send us in these drafts. We enjoy seeing what you guys got to say. So yeah, we actually enjoy the community we got here. But for now, that is it from us, and we hope to see you guys on the next video, hopefully on Wednesday. But yeah, take it easy, everyone, and have a good weekend. Peace out.
Take care, guys. Have a good weekend.